Welcome to, and we are going to talk about Muslim women in Malawi, roles, challenges, and paths to empowerment. And I'm going to break down this talk in three parts. The first one is going to be the essential role of Muslim women in Malawian society, and key challenges they face, and exploring pathways to empowerment. Now, we'll start with the first one, the essential role of Muslim women in Malawian society. You know, Muslim women in Malawi play a vital role in family, community, and national development, and yet they face systematic challenges in education, leadership, access to opportunities, and despite their essential role, they face that they have those multifaceted role as central pillars for community development and economic support, and while balancing traditional family and modern professional responsibilities. Now let's look at the some of the key issues under essential role of Muslim women in Malawian society. I'll start with community care and family care. You know, Muslim women are central in raising children, just like any other woman. Muslim women as well, they're central in raising children and instilling values in children, taking care of, family members, the sick, the elderly, and in addition to that, they're supposed to be, to take part in food security initiatives, as women form an integral part, women and children form an integral part of the workforce in farms. So, for example, on the issue of not taking care of the sick, as a Muslim woman, I have that role to take care of people that are sick, regardless of whether I am in a paid up employment, but I have to leave everything and take care of the sick. That's what is expected of me as a Muslim woman. So this is one of the key essential roles of Muslim women in Malawi. And another essential role is, contributing to social and economic development. Women are increasingly involved, like every day. They're increasingly involved in economic activities, supporting family finances and participating in fundraising for needy communities. Many Muslim women engage in small scale businesses such as, tailoring, food vending, grocery stores, cross-border trade. At the same time, there are other career Muslim women that are that are employed and earn an income for their families. At the same time, they act as role models for the younger generations in their communities or on their families. So despite that you are a career woman, you're supposed to as well to you use your income to take care of your families. Despite that, your husband or other male relations are within your compound, but you as a Muslim woman, you also take part in contributing to social and economic development of your family. So that's what that's what Muslim women do. Another essential role of Muslim women in society in Malawi is just making sure that the faith and is being upheld in all areas, and including social cohesion. At this on this, organizations in Malawi have organizations such as the Muslim Women Organization. This is like an overall group of Muslim women that are central, in making sure that they promote literacy among Muslim women. They also create health awareness, promoting community and religious development through dawah, and organizing or participating in religious activities to strengthen community bonds. So, for example, on health awareness, like just a month ago, the Muslim Women Organization did organize a cancer screening that was free among Muslim women, and basically, you know, creating awareness about cancer, and you know, just to make sure that women are aware of what they are facing these days. And similarly, they create about, you know, we have this problem of cholera. This is the rainy season. We also have problems of cholera in many parts. And the Muslim Women Organization is always there just to make sure that people are aware of the dangers that they are facing. In terms of dawah, the Muslim Women Organization and other groups, other Muslim women groups, they also, you know, conduct dawahs just to make sure that Muslim women, they share the word of God, you know, just to make sure that their fear of Allah is at another level. So really, Muslim women, they are at the integral part of making sure that the faith is being upheld in all areas. And in addition to that, Muslim women also have that essential role of advocacy and education. You know, women, just like Muslim women, are also viewed as primary educators for their children, you know, passing down the Islamic knowledge through madrasa, while at the same time also encouraging the formal education among the girl child and the boy child and everyone around her. So Muslim women in Malawi have been at the center of promoting girl child education, especially that many other Muslim women in Malawi, they're not that educated because during their time, they had a lot of challenges in terms of, you know, we used to have, like a long time ago, we used to have many Christian schools, very, during the colonial era. We used to have, you know, schools that were affiliated to the Christian faith. And one of the requirements at that time was that they need to denounce their Islamic faith and become Christians. And that they chose to be a Muslim instead of getting, you know, secular education. So most of them, they are just educated in the on deen affairs, but not in secular education. So the more other women, other Muslim women now are trying to make sure that the younger ones access, you know, Islamic knowledge as well as the secular knowledge. So the Muslim woman is really that essential role, carrying out that essential role to make sure that the younger Muslim woman is having both, the best of both worlds, having the Islamic knowledge and having the secular knowledge. And you know, additionally, in Malawi, we are currently facing this problem of, you know, girls dropping out of school due to various reasons. One of them being early marriages. Another one is, you know, pregnancies, early pregnancies, lack of school fees, you know, so they are just dropping out of school. So we have another organization, which one of them is Muslim Sisters Youth Organization. Of course, I'm a member of that organization. What we are doing is trying to identify girls in our societies that have dropped out of school due to various challenges, and we make sure that they go back to school. So we support them through, you know, providing school fees for the children, creating such environment where they are able to attend education without any hindrance. And we make sure that we encourage them. We act as role models. We provide career guidance to such girls. So as we speak, many girls are now back to school via our initiative and the initiative of other organizations, NGOs, like government. Government has a policy in place just to make sure that girls go back to school. So the Muslim woman is really, you know, complementing government's efforts to make sure that girls go back to school and attend secular education apart from the Islamic education that they are attending. They are attending back home in their communities. Another essential role that a Muslim woman is also playing is you know, professional and academic leadership. You know, Muslim women in Malawi are really breaking barriers in professional fields such as medicine, law, education, science in general. That's providing an inspiration for younger generations to excel in various careers. We have lecturers in place. We have doctors, nurses. So if you go to the hospital, like right now, the probability of you meeting a female nurse is very high. The probability of meeting a female doctor is high. So we Muslim women in Malawi are really breaking down the barriers in professional fields that originally were of no reach for a Muslim woman. So that is an essential role that Muslim women are really displaying in Malawi. Another essential role that Muslim women are also playing is the social and welfare support. On this point, Muslim women are heavily involved in charities such as fundraising to support the needy, those that are admitted in hospitals, providing support to the elderly. And, very shortly we'll be going into the month of Ramadan, and they are also central in providing iftar to communities. So, for example, supporting those that are in hospitals, just recently, someone was commenting about, Muslim women showing unity when one of their own is in hospital. So for example, if I'm admitted to hospital today, or my husband or my children, the members of my community, Muslim members of my community, will be visiting me in the hospitals every day just to make sure that I'm well taken care of. I'm okay. I'm being taken. I know that I have people that love me. So to me, they support the elderly. So we have also this other organization. The name of just in collaboration with the Muslim Women Organization, we are also trying to identify the elderly just to make sure that we give them something as we are preparing for Ramadan. So those are some of the essential roles Muslim women in Malawi are really playing. Now, despite all these initiatives, the essential roles that Muslim women in Malawi are playing, there are some challenges that these Muslim women are facing every day. So one of them is education. Lack of formal education limits some of the women. It limits the amount of contribution that they can make in society. So Muslim girls, especially those in rural areas, are disproportionately affected by such factors as early marriages, like I said earlier, lack of school fees and some cultural expectations. They are like facing that. So for them to access education, they are facing this challenge. And sometimes, cultural norms bar women to pursue their dreams and therefore confined to their traditional role of being in the kitchen. Sometimes some cultural barriers, like when you get older and you seem not to get married, society tend to judge you harshly. That why are you not getting married? Hey, your peers are getting married. What is happening? So sometimes this is a barrier for women to attain education, and in turn this limits their amount of contribution they can make to society. Another challenge that the Muslim women are facing is leadership. Muslim women are underrepresented in decision-making positions, possibly due to many factors, including lack of support and limited education, like I said earlier. Because if you have limited education, there is little that you can do in terms of being a leader, So, but however, things are changing now, as many women are now taking these decision-making positions, but are yet to be fully represented at policy-making level. Say, for example, Parliament, because we had an election just last September. We are yet to document how many Muslim women we have, but as we speak, they're not. I don't think they are more than 15 out of 229 members of parliament. So we are not represented at that policy level. However, we are making strides in other sectors because we feel as Muslim women in Malawi, we have joined this leadership race a little bit late, but we are hopeful that we are going to gain ground with time. Another challenge that we Muslim women in Malawi are facing is also, limited access to opportunities. Most Muslim women in Malawi have access to formal employment and financial services because I think it's still stemming from the fact that most of them have a limitation in terms of attainment of secular education. Sometimes it's another limitation to access to opportunities is also discrimination and stereotypes in workplaces because it's just now that things have changed. But in the past, we Muslim women were not allowed to put on our hijab in the workplaces. Like you work for government or in the private sector, you were not allowed to put on your hijab. So most women, because of that, most women were preferring to stay at home, do their own things and not take part in the formal employment because they were actually choosing the hijab rather than having a formal employment. But now things are changing. In the government, we are allowed to put on hijab. In some private sector organizations, you're allowed to put on hijab. The ones that are remaining, we are trying to have an interface with them just to make sure that they allow their employees to put on Muslim employees to put on hijab. But we have made progress. Almost 80% of organizations they allow Muslim women to put on their hijab in schools, even starting from primary schools. Girls are allowed to put on hijab. Even in private schools, they're allowed to put on hijab. So things are going to change in terms of limitation to access to opportunities because that hindrance about hijab will be out. There are other stereotypes like women, people thinking that a Muslim woman cannot express herself. Say, for example, in interviews, in meetings, in some gatherings, like it's just a stereotype. So they fail to give an opportunity to a Muslim woman to prove herself if she can do that. But people are realizing now that Muslim women, they are just like any other woman. They can express themselves. They can represent people in meetings or can do well in interviews. So that was another challenge. Limiting access to opportunities for Muslim women. Another challenge is also, there is this cherry picking in the interpretation and application of verses from the Holy Quran. It's really a challenge in our community. Muslim women in Malawi have experienced demonization because they are career women. They have experienced that by some men in our society. For example, some organization, including ours, the Muslim Sisters Youth Organization, we were attacked by encouraging women to pursue their dreams and be independent. They interpreted that as as like women encouraging our fellow women not to listen to their husbands or not obey the commands of Allah in whatever they do in the name of being independent. And they were quoting verses that, well, it didn't really go with our dream, with our objective of the organization. So, that application of the Holy Scriptures on issues that are not there is really dragging women behind. Like women are not forthcoming for fear of being judged, they some men, they take career women as that are morally not upright. So women tend to, to hold back in whatever they are supposed to do in life. They cannot pursue their dreams because of, fear of being branded as immoral in the eyes of Allah. So it's really, really, really difficult. Another challenge that Muslim women are facing is social cultural stereotypes and family pressures. Muslim women in Malawi often face societal expectations that prioritize domestic roles over professional ambitions. And we have recently heard a sermon by a certain sheikh in Malawi demonizing, working women, like I said earlier, and also, for example, I am a career woman. I'm a professional woman, and if something happens in my community, the expectation is that I need to drop down everything that is to do with my career, and then go back and attend to those domestic roles that I have back home. So if I don't do that, I'm branded like someone who is not who doesn't take my domestic roles seriously. And another thing on social cultural stereotypes. So, for example, if a family is faced with financial constraints and there is a male and female children that need to get educated, they prefer to send to school the male child and leave behind the girl child, because they do that in the sense that the girl child is going to get married, she's going to find a husband to take care of her, and so there is no need for her to spend money on her and get educated. So, those things. But things are changing, like I said earlier. Things are changing, and families now, they're able to realize the importance of educating the girl child, just like the importance of educating the male child. So things are really changing, and those stereotypes, they are remaining in some communities, but not as much. Now, let's talk about the pathways to empowerment. So, with the essential roles that the Muslim woman is playing and the challenges that are facing, all is not lost. All is not lost, because we still have, some pathways where we can still empower the Muslim woman, while at the same time fulfilling those traditional roles that she's expected to fulfill. So one of them, the pathways to empowerment, is education. We are, as Muslim women, we are really trying to intensify on the point of education, like expanding Islamic schools. Right now, we have so many Islamic secondary schools. Like in the past 10 years, we've seen a boom in the establishment of Islamic schools, both primary and secondary schools. But we are still lacking in terms of tertiary education, schools that can offer tertiary education. We have quite a few of them. But in terms of secondary schools, we still have, and there are plans to have some primary schools that are built by Islamic organizations to be handed over to government, because in Malawi we have schools uh, that are Roman Catholic schools, but they are run by government. So, like the Catholic schools, they have a little influence in the running of those schools, but mainly the government runs those schools. So Muslim organizations are trying to establish those schools so that some of them can be handed over to government and some of them can be purely Islamic schools where they can educate the Muslim girl child, the Muslim boy child. We have quite a number of them. So we are expanding. We are also integrating vocational schools. Vocational schools, we have organizations like the Islamic Zakat Fund. It's running quite a number of vocational schools where, people with all levels of education can attend a vocational education. So, for example, if left school in primary school, there are some vocational skills that can be imparted to you based on your level of education. If your level of education is secondary schools, they are also some tailor-made vocational, courses just for you. And if you reached tertiary education, there are yet also some courses just for you. So with that, people can be empowered both economically and socially. They can be empowered because when you get those vocational skills, you can go out there, set up your business. And so, for example, tailoring, plumbing, carpentry, fashion and design. You can do that using the skills that these organizations like the Islamic Zakat Fund is providing, the Al Baraka Charity Trust, Muslim Relief UK. It's really providing such vocational skills. We also have a government-sponsored organization, the Technical Entrepreneurial and Vocational Education Training Authority, TVETA. It's also providing technical skills at that higher level, and it's providing those skills to everyone, whether you are a Muslim, whether you are a Christian, whether you don't belong to any faith. They are providing, as long as you meet the requirements for entry into such schools, they are also providing this. We also have, Agicom. It's agriculture commercialization project where Muslim women can form cooperatives and access funds, and you do agriculture, and then you sell the proceeds, you sell the produce, and then you share the money. It's a lot. So in farming, you can have a lot of money at the end. So when you sell your produce, you can have a lot of money. You can support your families using that. So Muslim women, they are forming cooperatives and accessing these funds. We also have some microfinance organizations that are also providing funding for women groups, including Muslim women groups, so they can access funds and start small-scale businesses. So it's a pathway to economic empowerment. We also have, as a form of empowerment, faith-based engagements. We have, like I mentioned earlier, the Muslim Women Organization is really making strides in terms of engagement. Like it's really making their members to know about what rights they have in terms of what Islamic teachings talk about. What rights do they have? And they normally advocate for such rights in terms of equality. So that's another way because an informed society is an empowered society. So this organization is really trying to provide awareness on so many issues happening in our country. We talk of equality, we talk of gender-based violence, we talk about right to education, right to religion, right to dressing, everything. So the Muslim Women Organization, plus other organizations, they're really trying to do those engagements just to make aware of those issues to women. And we also have community initiatives where Muslim women are gathered together, like forming cooperatives, forming village banks where they can pull together funds and establish something. So, for example, a maize meal, so that they share the proceeds from the maize meal. So that's another empowerment, and women are provided with business management lessons to make sure that they have after the business management lessons, they are given an opportunity to access funds to start their own businesses. So that's another empowerment. So, in conclusion, Muslim women in Malawi play a vital role in Malawian society as they are central pillars for community development and economic support, while at the same time balancing traditional, family, and modern professional responsibilities. Oftentimes, most of them face challenges and that stem from failure to attain high levels of education, which leads to limited access to formal job opportunities, lack of access to financial services to boost their businesses. They also sometimes face social cultural stereotypes and family pressures, which hinder them from pursuing their goals. However, there are many pathways that seem to be working. For example, government interventions through TVETA. We have also the National Economic Empowerment Fund, NIF, Agricultural Commercialization Project, and others. And we also have other provision of scholarships by the Muslim Mother Board in Malawi, the Muslim Association of Malawi, where young women and men are sent abroad to study. We have the Islamic Zakat Fund that send young women and men to some countries like Tanzania, Uganda, to study courses of their choice, degree programs of their choice, so that they are empowered. And we also have some organizations that are also sponsoring people to study within the country, providing funds for organizations. So we are really there. And perhaps the question will be: are these pathways enough to effect change on the lives of Muslim women in Malawi? For me, I would say yes. Because we are somewhere. It's not like we are on ground zero. We have somewhere to start from. So we have really made strides over time, but it's not yet enough. But we are really trying. So that's all we had under the Muslim empowerment in Malawi: roles, challenges, pathways to empowerment, and we're talking about three key issues: essential role of Muslim women in Malawian society, key challenges they face, and exploring pathways to empowerment. Thank you very much. Allah bless.